So His Grace Vamsi Vilas Prabhu, who is a very sincere devotee and my good friend, I feel so fortunate to have friends like Vamsi Vilas Prabhu. Very, very sincere, very, very humble devotee and a sincere servant of disciple of His Holiness Radhanath Swami Maharaj. And our friendship goes back 6, 7 years, 5, 6 years, all the way from Rochester. But I can continue to talk, but we want to hear from Vamsi Vilas Prabhu. He has been managing his life very nicely, and uh, in spite of uh, all these ups and downs we all have in our lives, is kept bhakti is the cardinal principle, and so much to learn from him. So today he's going to speak on this topic of Govardhan Puja. So let's relish that wonderful Leela of Lord Krishna from the mouth of his wonderful devotee, Vamsilas Prabhu. Yes, Prabhu, please. Thank you so much for accepting this proposal to purify us. Please share. Please continue.
Okay. Thank you very much, Prabhuji. You're my Shiksha Guru and dear God brother. Because of you, I'm able to prepare for this, and preparation itself is a lot of purification. I myself have not done Govardhan Parikrama, so in the mind I'm able to read and learn, and because of you I'm able to do this endeavor and purify myself. So please forgive me if I make any mistake, and please feel free to chime in and help me if I do. Okay, so let me share the screen. Welcome all of you to this wonderful festival. Like Prabhuji mentioned, it is a festival of Govardhan Puja, and it happens on the day after Deepavali. So I've prepared a slide. Hopefully everybody can see the slides now. And I will, let me go into the presentation mode. Okay, somehow it's not. Okay, first I'm just going to give respect to Guru and Parampara. Om Ajnanatimmirandasya Jnananjana Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhudale Swayam Rupa Katamahyam Dadati Swapatantikam Vandeham Sri Gurun Sri Yuta Patakamalam Sri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadudam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Deham Sri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Sri Vishakhanvitamsya He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpade Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sude Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vancha Kalpatarupascha Kripa Sindhupya Evacha Patitanam Pavanepyo Vaishnavepyo Namo Namaha. Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadara Sri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Dandavat Pranam everyone. So I got this prayer from a lecture that I listened to Indrayumna Swami Maharaj. A wonderful prayer, very easy to learn. So, and Shubhilas Prabhuji is always about easy prayers we can learn. And maybe if everybody can learn this today, it will be very helpful. Namaste Girirajaya Sri Govardhana Namine Ashesha Klesha Nashaya Paramananda Daine. So very easy words and very easy meanings. So yeah, giving our obeisance to Giriraj, who the other name for Govardhan, and he destroys all the kleshas or worries or problems in our spiritual path and gives us the greatest spiritual bliss. Translation is, I offer my respectful obeisance unto the King of all hills. That's why it's called Giriraj, King of all hills, Govardhana hill. And Govardhana, it's two words, right? Go and Vardhana. Go is cows and Vardhana is nourish. So Govardhan hill is always nourishing the cows. And if we consider ourselves as jivas, if we take shelter of Govardhan hill, he will nourish us in our spiritual life. So Govardhan hill, the source of enjoyment for the senses, land and cows. He is a servant of Kṛṣṇa and is Kṛṣṇa himself. He puts an end to unlimited sufferings and bestows the supreme bliss. So just to set the background, so we are in Kartik month, like Shubhalas Prabhuji says, it is a spiritual sale going on. And one important part is the Govardhan puja comes in the Kartik month. As you can see there, the Rasa Leela, the Deepavali that finished yesterday, the Radha Kund appearance day, disappearance day of Srila Prabhupada. So it's a very, very special month. And according to Padma Purana, Kartika is Kṛṣṇa's favorite month that happens every year. So there's lots of spiritual benefits to reap. And just to also show, in the Kartik month, the Kṛṣṇa in the form of Damodar, the little Kṛṣṇa who's always giving sweet, loving pastimes to his devotees, he is the front and foremost. So that's why this month is so relishable to the devotees, because it's the Vrindavan pastime, which is full of Madhurya Bhakti for Kṛṣṇa.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Can you refresh and try the presentation mode again, please?
Oh, it's not working?
It's the full slideshow.
Oh, got it. Yep. Stop share. Okay, let me first do presentation and then share the screen. Somehow the presentation mode is not coming. Refresh the page.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna. Kathanchana smrite yasmin dushkaram sukaram bhavet vismrite vipritam syat Shri Chaitanya Namavitam. When things don't work, I chant this prayer and somehow then they work. It happens anytime like my card doesn't start. So refresh it, please, and chant this Kathanchana. Let's pray to Govardhan that Prabhuji's presentation can work nicely so we can see the full screen.
Yes.
Download it and then run maybe it's the other option you can try.
Yes.
Download a PPT or PDF from then run it.
Team transition. Slide.
Okay, if it's getting too complex, then let's continue.
Yeah, it always works there. And somehow that screen is gone away. Okay, I think I've got that screen now.
Kathanchana smrite yasmin dushkaram sukaram bhavet vismrite vipritam syat Shri Chaitanya Namavitam. Yes, see, it worked.
Yes, Prabhuji, thank you so much for your prayers. So we were here. So Lord Damodar is the deity for Kartik month. And we see like for Purushottam month, the Adhik month, it is Purushottam. And each month has a deity of the Lord. And Damodar is the deity for Kartik month. Okay, so this slide just shows the calendar for this month and all the auspicious days. So one thing I want to show is there are 2 fortnights in a month, the Kṛṣṇa Paksha and the Shukla Paksha. So what just got completed is the dark fortnight or the Kṛṣṇa Paksha. That means the moon is waning. So every time a month starts, the month starts on the previous day of the month start is the full moon. And then the moon starts coming down and down, smaller and smaller. And since the moon is coming smaller and smaller, it's called Kṛṣṇa Paksha or dark fortnight. And we know Sharad Purnima was the first day of Kartik. So that's the first day. So previous night is the full moon, and then the moon starts going down and down. And then on Diwali day, it's Amavasya. So it's like the first fortnight is getting over, and the next fortnight is starting. The Shukla Paksha is starting today. So the moon, which is totally absent, it's a new moon, there's no moon, it's dark, and everybody lit wonderful lamps to welcome Lord Ram into their heart and their homes, extinguishing all darkness. And then the Shukla Paksha starts. And the first day is the Pratama is Govardhan Puja. So Govardhan Puja is on the Shukla Paksha, or the light, or the bright fortnight. So now we'll go into the Govardhan, about Govardhan, because the topic is Govardhan Puja. So we have to all familiarize or remind ourselves about the Govardhan, his appearance, and then we will focus more on the Annakut or the Govardhan Puja part today, and so we'll see how far we can get. So here in Goloka Vrindavan, Kṛṣṇa and Radharani are having their wonderful loving pastimes, and Kṛṣṇa tells Radharani that it is time to go to the Bhomya Vrindavan, to go to the earth. And they are standing on Govardhan Hill here, and Radharani says, I don't want to go to the earth unless the Vraj Dham, Vrindavan Dham, the Yamuna River, and Govardhan is also present. And Kṛṣṇa says, oh, not to worry, they're already gone to the material world, and they'll be present for you when you go there. And so we go to that story of how Govardhan comes to the material world, and how he comes to Vrindavan. So Govardhan is actually, he was born in a dweep. It's like we learned about Jambu Dweep, so one of the 7 dweepas, he was born there, not in the Bhumandala. And his parents was Dronachal, and so he was born with all these wonderful streams and kunjas, and he had special minerals and pearls and diamonds and different jewels on him. And so Pulasya Muni, which is one of the Manasa Putras of Brahma, he came, and he wanted to take Pulasya Muni, Pulasya Muni wanted to take Govardhan to Varanasi or Kashi. So that's where he's from. He was just traveling around the world, and he saw this beautiful hill, and he wanted to bring the hill to the earthly realm. And then he asked Dronachal, and Dronachal was full of love for his son, and he didn't want to let go. But since the great Acharya, who's a tiger among the sages, Pulatsya, asked, he said, sure. And then he asked Vrindavan, he asked Govardhan, do you want to go with Pulasya Muni? He said, yes, I can go, because Govardhan is thinking about Radharani and Krishna and the wonderful pastime. So he wants to make sure he's present there. So he said, yes, I will go. But he gives Pulasya Muni one condition. If you put me down somewhere, then I will not get up from there again. So Pulasya Muni said, oh, no, I won't put, rest you down anywhere. I will just take you directly to Kashi and put you there. Kashi doesn't have any mountains, and this hill will really help us to focus on our bhakti and meditate and learn about the Lord, because you're coming from the spiritual world, and you have all the wonderful qualities to instigate spiritual love for the Lord. So he took Govardhan and he started walking. And Govardhan at that time was very, very big. He is 80 miles long. And now we'll go into the story of how he became smaller and smaller. And he was like 2 miles high and like 40 miles wide. So it's very, very big. But Pulasya Muni, since he is a great mystic and sage, he is able to carry the mountain on his palm, and he came all the way to Bharatavarsha. And when he reached Vrindavan, Mathura and then Vrindavan, Govardhan understood this is where the Lord and Radharani are going to come. So he increased his weight. And Pulasya Muni said, oh, maybe I should just refresh myself. I might be getting tired. And he forgot about what he promised Govardhan, and he put Govardhan down, and he went into the Yamuna, took a bath and came back. And long behold, Govardhan is so heavy he can't lift up, and he says, you better come up or I'll be very angry, because I have to go and take you, and this is for my sadhana I brought you. And Govardhan reminded him about the condition, and then Pulasya Muni cursed Govardhan because he was not complying, that he will reduce his size by a mustard seed or a sesame seed every day. So because of that, that's why Govardhan today is only 8 miles long and about 25 meters high. It's because of this curse. And the acharyas say that as long as Govardhan is in our Bhumandala, the effects of Kali won't affect so much. So we are very fortunate to be in a time where Govardhan is still present, because he's slowly shrinking, and after 10,000 years of Kali Yuga, he's supposed to disappear. So this is the wonderful Vraj Dham, and this is what Radharani said. She wouldn't come without the Vraj Dham being present in the world. So in the material world. So the Vraj Dham is like a lotus flower, and there you can see in this better that Govardhan is present right at the heart. And what we heard from Prabhu last week is about the glorification of Vrindavan. Like Vrindavan is the most spiritual place, and within Vrindavan, Govardhan Hill, it's in Vrindavan, is the holiest. And within Govardhan, the Radha Kund is the holiest of holy. So on top, that's here, is Radha Kund and Shyam Kund. And we heard the stories last week, so I'm not going into that. So this is the beautiful Vrindavan hill, where Krishna and Radharani had so many wonderful pastimes. And so there are a lot of stories for each of these main places. So we heard about Radha Kund, Shyam Kund, and Pran Govind Prabhu also mentioned about Lalita Kund. There is Narada Kund, where he took a dip and wanted to become a gopi for for the Ras Leela. There's Govinda Kund, where Indra actually apologized to Lord Krishna. There's Naval Kund and Apsara Kund on the border, on the southern tip. This is where the Lord actually, after his Ras Leela and having so much nectar from that pastime, he melted into the Naval Kund, and Radharani melted into Apsara Kund. So many wonderful, and each place, like Brahma Kund here, that is a place where Brahma, he was full of tears after the Brahma Vimohana Leela out of remorse, and that formed a Kund. So we can go on and speak a lot, so we don't have much time for that. So we'll just focus on a few. So Kusum Kund is a place where a lot of flowers come, and Radharani uses the flowers to decorate Lord. So let's go to the next slide. And the Acharya, so Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, he describes Govardhan as a peacock, and he says the eyes of the peacock is Shyam Kund and Radha Kund. We saw the Radha Kund and Shyam Kund are on the top, and it's part of Govardhan Hill. And we know Radha Kund, according to the Nectar of Devotion, is the most spiritually potent place in this whole world. So it is in Govardhan Hill, because it's part of the peacock. And so Shyam Kund is that. Then there is Kusum Sarovar. So Kusuma Sarovar is where the Govardhan Parikrama starts. And there are so many wonderful pastimes of the Lord. And Kusuma Sarovar is said to be the whole face of the peacock. If we think of the peacock as Govardhan Hill, Kusuma Sarovar is. And the pastimes there, like Kṛṣṇa wanted to be a boatman and carry the gopis across the river. And Kṛṣṇa wanted to get a fee for rowing the boat. He was dressed as a boatman, and the gopi said, we don't have any money. And he said, oh, just the wonderful butter you're carrying, that's enough for me. And he takes that butter, and then they say, why are you asking all this? And he said, okay, then just throw out all your possessions out so that the rope, the boat will not rock so much. And and then he asked, so still it is rocking. Then he said, why don't you throw all the clothes you have? And then Radharani said, no, we'll throw you out of the into the. So that's just very sarcastic and very, very wonderful esoteric pastimes of the gopis and Kṛṣṇa happen in Govardhan Hill. And then we come to Mukharavind, which is the mouth of Govardhan. And this is where the Govardhan accepts the Annakut. That is a festival that's celebrated today. And we'll talk about that. So, sorry, I confused Kusuma Sarovar and Manasi Ganga. Sorry, Manasi Ganga is where the parikrama starts, and the pastime I just mentioned. Sorry, this is because I haven't been, and I'm just hearing from the acharyas to say. Kusuma Sarovar is where the kusum means flowers, so flowers grow there. And Manasi Ganga, which is slightly on the south of Shyam Kund and Radha Kund, that's where the parikrama starts. It starts and then goes around and stops at Manasi Ganga. And Dangati is all, Manasi Ganga and Dangati is mentioned as the neck of the peacock. And Dangati is where the tax collector pastime happened between the gopis and Kṛṣṇa. Wonderful pastime, and even today for folks to devotees to pass that, they have to pay taxes. So very, very wonderful and full of love and wonderful katha, and is available if we can go to Vrindavan and have the Govardhan Parikrama. And in the bottom, the tail, the part is called the Panchari and Naval Kund, and that is where he said where the Lord melted into the Naval Kund and Radharani melted into Apsara Kund. So that is the southernmost tip of Govardhan, and the Acharyas describe Govardhan as a peacock with his head tucked into its side, like we see here on the left. Okay. So Radharani describes Govardhan as such a great, wonderful devotee of the Lord, where he gives very fresh water and quenches the thirst of the cows and the Gopa boys and Kṛṣṇa when they go to herd the cows. And so it's a very cooling, soothing place to go to. And she really appreciates Govardhan for all the wonderful service he does. Like we mentioned, there are so many wonderful pastimes of Kṛṣṇa and Radharani happening in Govardhan. So yeah, it's like the holy dham that's allowing these wonderful pastimes to happen. So the personification of the Govardhan hill, the Govardhan personality of Giriraj is praised by Radharani to her gopi friends all the time, and there are caves where the gopas can go and get some shade, and there are wonderful grass which is very soft and it gives wonderful milk to the cows. So Govardhan does a lot of service to everybody in Vrindavan, because the backbone of the Vrindavan community is the milk and milk products that they produce. So everybody is very appreciative of the wonderful service of Govardhan. So one day, Kṛṣṇa and Balaramji were walking, and they heard that the Vrajavasis were wanting to have the puja for Indra. So they do Indra puja every year to bring to pray to Indra so that he can bring rain into Vrindavan, so that the grass will grow, and then because of the grass growing, the cows will eat the grass, and the cows will produce wonderful milk. So since they were, as a tradition, they were following this every year, and Kṛṣṇa understood that Indra was getting puffed up. Though he was doing a service well, he was thinking himself as the proprietor, and he was thinking he is the controller, and only if he gives rain can the Vrajavasis survive. And in order to crush his false ego, Kṛṣṇa plans a wonderful pastime. So he comes to Nanda Maharaj and says, there is no point in doing this Indra Puja. And there's a big discussion that happens, but the Lord convinces Nanda Maharaj and the Vrajavasis that we don't have to do the Indra Puja. Who we need to worship are the Brahmins, cows, and Govardhan. Govardhan gives us the sweet, fresh water and the wonderful grass for the cows. And we see that Vrindavan, everybody is so enamored of Kṛṣṇa, and they love Kṛṣṇa so much that they want to follow whatever Kṛṣṇa says. They're solely surrendered. So that's why we see that they accept this, though they're willing to give up all their tradition they were following for many years and follow the instructions of the Lord. And clearly an example of the Sarvadharman Parityaja verse in Bhagavad Gita. And the Vrajavasis probably they're just doing it spontaneously, and they're automatically doing doing the greatest surrender to the Lord. So, so this is what happened, and we are going to focus on this part because it is the Govardhan puja or Annakuta. So we'll go into a little more detail here, where everybody who was following the tradition, they changed it because Kṛṣṇa said from this year we will worship Govardhan. So they woke up early in the morning. They dressed up so well with wonderful fragrance and tilak and wonderful silks. They were all ready. The Brajavasis were all ready for the first Govardhan festival. And after they decorated themselves for the festival, they decorated the cows. On the cows, they had silver bells, cowbells, and they had silk cloth present, like you see in this picture. They had golden metal covering the horns, and they decorated the cows so well for this wonderful festival. So then the lecture I heard, it is from the different, so Ananda Vrindavan Champu, Gopal Champu, Bhagavatam, and then Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur's commentary. So all this was read by Indra Somni Maharaj, and he says such a wonderful account of this festival. And he mentions how Govardhan looked like a bride who is going to get married the next day. So Govardhan was ready for the wonderful sacrifice or the puja that was going to happen. And they got so since they have to do the sacrifice and the abhishek, we cannot deal with such a big mountain, right? So they found a shila. Shila is a rock from Govardhan where they can do the abhishek. So they symbolically the rock is present there, but they gave the rock a seat just like a person, and they gave incense and nice scented water from the Yamuna. So they got all the items ready and seated him on a golden throne, and they got Govardhan ready for the Govardhan puja. So and it is said that they got, for the abhishek, they got the water, and then they got milk, and then they got panchamrita. So panchamrita, say with milk, yogurt, sugar, ghee, and honey. So all these wonderful, all the best they can get, they got all these ingredients and prepared the panchamrita, and they did abhishek on this Govardhan Shila. This was the very first Annakut festival. So and they were all excited, and they were doing it so well. And Govardhan was looking very, very pretty as the Shila with the wonderful abhishek that was going on. And after the abhishek, they put these flower garlands, and not only the brahmanas who was doing the Purusha Shukta prayers and getting the Shila ready and doing that. After that, all the Vrajavasis, they were also full of devotion for Govardhan because of the wonderful benedictions Govardhan gave them. They all had beautiful garlands to put on the Govardhan Shila. So you can imagine how big that festival would have been. And so the Shila looked so beautiful and decorated, wonderful shringar, and ready for the offering. And then everybody had prepared a lot of prasad. And while they were preparing the prasad, the bhoga, sorry, for Govardhan, Indra was getting an earache because of the kirtan that everybody was playing, the drums and the kartals. They were ringing, and everybody is praying to Govardhan so nicely, and it was creating a earache to Indra at that time. But at that point, he didn't retaliate or anything. At that point, he was just watching what is going on. So in the right picture, we see this is, of course, from today, but it is said that everybody prepared so much wonderful bhog for Govardhan. It looked like another hill, and with the rice preparation, looked like camphor on top, and it resembled like Mount Kailash. And they had different foodstuff, and it is said that they prepared bhog that was bigger than anybody had ever prepared bhog for any deity. Even the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Narayan Puja, they prepared that much bhog for Govardhan. So they had sweet dishes, salty, bitter, pungent, astringent, so many different tastes. And then they had divided this based on whether it is rice dish, it is dal, it is succulent, is it crispy, based on the texture, color. They had made different varieties. Some thousands and thousands of varieties of dishes were ready for Govardhan. And nobody was prepared to see how the Lord reciprocated for their wonderful devotion. And after they made the offering, they gave a prostrated obeisance to Govardhan. And then what happened was how the Lord reciprocated. There was a form which is a divine form of the Lord appeared above the Govardhan hill, so big that he looked like another mountain on Govardhan hill. And we see Kṛṣṇa is with everyone offering all the obeisances and bhog to Govardhan, but the Lord wanted to reciprocate to the devotees who had accepted what he had said, and he wanted to show and increase their faith. So he appeared in this huge towering form above the hill. And it is said that because of the thunder and everybody from the obeisance, they lifted their head and they saw this towering personality. They didn't know who this was. Some thought it was Kṛṣṇa himself. Some thought it is the personification of Govardhan, and everybody was so. Initially, they were astonished and scared. It is said the cows, they had their leaves, their grass in their mouth, and they were stunned and looking. And everybody is personified in Vrindavan. So there's the rabbits, the peacocks, the deers. It said that their fur was standing on end, and everybody was stunned and looking because everybody who gets the mercy to be in Vrindavan are exalted devotees, and they're all relishing this pastime, and they're looking at who this is. And then the Lord says, I am Govardhan. I want to, I'm the personification, I'm Giriraj. I want to reciprocate to you. So far you have done a lot of sacrifice and puja for Indra and other deities, but they never reciprocated to you. But I'm not like that. I'm going to reciprocate to you personally. And he says in a rumbling voice, and he says in that voice, but he's very merciful, and he says, I'm willing to give you any benediction, and I'm willing to accept the wonderful bhog you have prepared to me. And you see that the big hills of bhog ready. And everybody is so ecstatic, and they're saying Giriraj ki jai, and they're all saying jai and very, very happy. And what happens is the Lord, his right hand, he takes the bhog and starts eating it. And he's personally reciprocating to them and accepting the bhog. So everybody's so happy and satisfied to see the Lord himself eat the bhog. And the Lord, with his right hand, he's eating, and then with his left hand, he says, bring me more, bring me more, bring me more. So anior, anior, anior is the local dialect that's used. And everybody is bringing more and more and more. And suddenly, it's like all the bhog is over, and the Vrajavasis are a little nervous. What do we do? We don't have any bhog anymore. And then they look at Balramji, and then Balramji brings a tulsi leaf and offers it to this towering divine personality on top of the hill. And he eats the tulsi, and he's fully satisfied with the bhog. And it is said that Vrindavaneshwari, or Radharani, who we see on the right hand side, she herself didn't understand who this personality is by Yogamaya potency, of course. It is said that she can sense Krishna's presence anywhere she is, but she didn't, by Yogamaya, she didn't see this as Krishna himself. She was seeing as who is this great personality who's accepting all this. So the Lord, he ate all this, and it said that after eating and he's happy with the bhog, he ate the tulsi, and then he wanted to drink. So he reached out to the kundas. We saw so many different ponds around Govardhan. He drinks from that. And tulsi plant, and then the Vrajavasis had prepared cartloads of betel plants, and he takes that to finally relish his mouth, and he chews that. And then he then takes some more water and spits from his mouth, and when it falls on the side, that becomes a great meadow. And seeing all this wonderful pastime, they were all so relished. And the Lord then takes some bamboo shoots, you see on the right, and he uses that to pick his teeth or anything that's stuck. So very, very big, gigantic figure doing all this was giving great ecstasy to the Vrajavasis. And then, so once Govardhan was fully fed and happy, then as Krishna had mentioned, to provide, to worship the cows, they prepared and gave prasad to the cows. So when they were preparing prasad, giving them the wonderful grass, they were not eating. So one very senior Gopa, he went and said, "Oh, Krishna has to feed them." So Krishna will come and feed each cow. He expands himself to the 9 lakh or 900,000 cows, and he starts feeding them. And they all eat very happily, and the Lord enters into their eyes and into their heart, and they're fully in ecstasy. They forget everything. And they forget even their calves, and they're totally in prema. And so the cows are glorified. And then the calves it's the calves' turn to get the nourishment, and that's when the Gopa boys, they come and they all provide wonderful bhog to the calves and worship the calves. And the Lord says that how you show love for the cows is by by giving your obeisance to the cow. So everybody gave obeisance to the cow and calves, and we see how it is very important to go seva and consider the cows as very, very special devotees of the Lord and worship them. And then, of course, after that, the Gopa boys, because they do all the wonderful work with the cows, they are worshipped. And then Krishna and all the Gopa boys are worshipped, and they are all very, very happy, and they eat, they honor prasad. And at that point, they all do their obeisances to Govardhan, and this is today's parikrama, where there are folks who do devotees who do Dandavat parikram, and there are others who do like Dandavat parikram, that too in one spot they do like 108 Dandavat. So it's like taking 108 rounds. Today the whole number of miles around Govardhan is about 24 miles. So you can imagine how many weeks or months that would take to complete. And such is the surrender and the devotion of the Vrajvasis in Vrindavan. And similarly in the first Annakut as well, they all then they were about to do their obeisance, but then after the offering comes the arati, and they didn't have a lamp that would be enough for the big figure of Govardhan and the hill. So Krishna himself manifested as a 1,000-headed lamp, and he was available at that point, and all the Vrajavasis came and carried the lamp on them, and then they did a wonderful arti after the offering. And after the arati, they gave the dandavats like these wonderful Vrajavasis, and the towering divine personality who appeared on top of the Govardhan hill. He disappeared, and the Acharya says how wonderful it is to see Krishna giving obeisance to himself, because he was also doing obeisance, teaching us how to worship the Lord. So that concludes actually the Annakut and the Govardhan Puja part, and this part everybody knows, where Indra gets very angry, and he sees that all the puja is going to Govardhan and not him, and he sends Samvartaka clouds and creates a huge rain, and then the Lord lifts up Govardhan hill with his left little finger to show that very insignificant he's the strongest of the strong, and he holds the hill for 7 days and 7 nights, and then Indra is humbled, and he knows that he understands his position as a servant of the Supreme Lord, and the Supreme Lord is the one who gives him the energy to be Indra. So this is a picture which shows how Indra comes and then falls on the feet of the Lord and asks for his mercy. He brings Surabhi cow again. This is again showing how the Krishna loves the cow so much. Indra initially asked the cow to come and do an abhishek on Krishna with the milk, and then Indra asked for forgiveness to the Lord. So that's how the pastime is. And today, those who don't have cannot be in Govardhan or Vrindavan for this wonderful festival. There are many fortunate devotees who have a Govardhan Shila, where they can decorate him like Giriraj Govardhan, and give all the wonderful bhoga, and so the Chapan Bhog is given today. So that's one way we can all celebrate this wonderful festival commemorating that first Annakut festival, which was done in a grand scale that we cannot do today, but we can at least do our best by using our service to make wonderful prasadam, wonderful bhog, which can be which is crisp with different textures, and try our best to give it to Govardhan and ask for his mercy. So happy Govardhan Puja, everyone. That concludes this presentation. And if anybody has any questions, I will try my best to answer. Otherwise, the senior devotees on the call can help answer. Dandavat Pranam. You're breaking. I don't know if it's only for me, but.
Kṛṣṇa. Thank you so much.
Prabhuji, is it just for me, or everyone hears Shubhilas Prabhuji started?
Yes, Prabhu, we cannot hear him.
Yeah.
Hare Krishna, can you hear me?
Yes. Now we can hear you well, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you so much for the wonderful Krishna Katha, Govardhan Katha. It felt that we are doing parikrama by your narration, and you so nicely heard and from different senior Vaishnavas and gave us the nectar, the remnants of the remnants. We're so grateful to you. So, devotees, if you have any questions or any comments and reflections, please feel free to share at this point.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, make a quick comment here. So, Vamsi Vilas Prabhu, thank you so much for a very comprehensive and in-depth, exposition. I learned a lot of new things about, entire conception as a peacock and all the various parts and all that. So that was very nice to hear, and all the stories. So thank you so much, Prabhuji. So, and also, Govardhan, I just had a, I don't know if it is relevant or not, but basically, so Govardhan came from spiritual world, and then is there the material world, and then at the end of Kali Yuga, will Govardhan go back to spiritual world? Is that what the trajectory is, or?
Yeah, based on the pastime, it said that the big hill will shrink so much that Vrindavan Dham, of course, will always be there, but at least in this Kali Yuga, it's only going to be present for the first 10,000 years. We don't know what's going to happen in the next cycle. Based on the story, this is it. But we know that the Bhumi of Vrindavan never disintegrates. But there's appearance and disappearance of great devotees, and both presence and disappearance give a lot of ecstasy. So maybe for the first 10,000 years in this Kali Yuga, he will be available as that wonderful hill for parikrama.
Okay. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. A very nice description. We learned a lot from you as always. You make it very interesting. And as Prabhuji said, all the kunds, like the peacock description, and also the map you showed where the kunds are, in pictorial way. We learned a lot. So
I'm also learning, Prabhuji. So thank you for the opportunity to prepare. Thanks to Shubhilas Prabhuji for giving me the opportunity, Prabhuji.
Hari Bol to you and Shubhilas Prabhu. Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Thanks.
Okay, if no one has a question, I have a question, Prabhuji. So what should be our mood today, and what can we pray to Sri Giri Govardhan on this special day?
So our mood of devotion and giving him everything we have in the form of, if we can make a big heap of rice and bhog for Govardhan today, and doing a little bit extra than what we usually do for prasad, and giving, because we know he has a huge appetite. It is said that when he was eating, he was becoming bigger and bigger. So if we can relish this pastime by preparing wonderful bhog for Govardhan today, and meditating on the pastimes of Govardhan Leela, I think that would be very appropriate for today. And it'll be a great offering, because even if we can't be physically present in Vrindavan, in our mind we can be in Vrindavan by following what the Vrajavasis do. Is my humble opinion. I cannot be prescriptive. So I'll, if you please correct me if that is a good mood or not.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Wonderful. So, any other comments or questions anyone has before we end today's discussion or katha? Okay, just a reminder, most of you already know, but if you would want to join the today evening program, which will start at 5 p.m. Kirtan and then kids activities, and then from 6 p.m. basically we'll have a virtual parikrama, and 6 p.m. will be the katha, and then after that will be virtual parikrama and Govardhan Aarti. So please participate, please join. The details you already know. It's the same Zoom link as always. So please join 6 p.m. or want to take part in the kids' activities as well. You can join 5 p.m. 6 p.m. onwards. Adi Gadadhar Prabhu is going to speak. So His Grace Adi Gadadhar Prabhu is going to speak around 6:15 onwards p.m. EST. Okay, so let's express our deepest gratitude to His Grace Vamsi Vilas Prabhu for this wonderful Govardhan Katha on this holy day of Govardhan Puja by loudly chanting 3 times Hari Bol,
Hari Bol.
Hari Bol. Grace Vamsi Vilas Prabhu ki jai. Giri Govardhan ki jai. Giriraj Dharan Shri Bhagavan Krishna ki jai. Shri Radha Damodar ki jai. Shri Radha Damodar ki jai. Shri Kartik Maas ki jai. Shri Govardhan Puja Mahotsav ki jai. Shri Prabhupada ki jai. Samavit Gaur Bhaktivinoda ki jai.
Shubhilas Prabhuji ki jai. Panchakalpatarubhasya Kripa Sindhubhya Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavibhyo.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna.
And as Vamsi Vilas Prabhu said, please post your Govardhan Hills to inspire everyone. So even if we are not going to temple or anywhere outside, make at home, even if it's in a small way or big way, whatever, make at home and post. I mean, ultimately Govardhan is merciful. He'll give the remnants out. Okay. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hare Bol.